My name is Ray Rivera, aka DJ Infinite. I was one of the DJs at Pulse that night.
Basically, I was working the night that Pulse happened. I was on overtime. I had answered some really hard calls.
I've been working off duty there as an officer for about 2 years.
I know I was home.
I was actually at home. Me and my roommate had talked about maybe going out, and we kind of threw around, let's go here, and Pulse did come up.
And, it started off as any other night, and then, after 2 o'clock is, when all hell broke loose.
We begin this morning with breaking news of a nightclub shooting in Orlando.
The terror attack on a gay nightclub.
The club posted this message on Facebook with a dire warning. Everyone get out of Pulse and keep running.
I got a text message from my daughter and my 2 nieces. Please come and get us.
Please come get us out because he's about to kill us.
I don't know where my son is. No one can tell me where my son is.
I don't know. There just shouldn't be that type of hate in the world.
We're in Orlando at Ascension Tattoo, the premier tattoo shop here, as we are tattooing people affected by the Pulse tragedy. So the Healing Ink Project was started by Artists for Israel to tattoo over the scars of terror survivors and war heroes in Israel. And ever since then we said, you know what, this is something that's amazing, we need to expand it into the rest of the world. Unfortunately, there's no shortage of terror, no shortage of people who need help. So what we're doing is we went to New York for September 11th, we were in LA, and now we're in Orlando, and we're gonna keep going. The idea that we're helping people reclaim their body using body modification, art, over the scars.
So today I'm participating in the Healing Ink event here at Ascension Tattoo. I was a first responder to the Pulse nightclub shooting back in 2016, now almost 2 years ago. I was the officer working off duty that night at the club, so I was the first responder there.
It's been a struggle, for sure. I've gone through 2 PTSD programs now in order to handle it, and so 2 years later, I'm in a good place.
Basically, when it happened, we hid, me and some other people hid in the bar, stock room, and found the security room in the attic, and a bunch of us had hid up there. And that's when I called 911, and Jessica happened to be my dispatcher that took my call and kept me calm because, as you can imagine, your mind's racing, you think you're gonna die, and you hear everything, you know what I'm saying? So she did an amazing job at keeping me sane in such a, I don't even know how to say it.
I was so scared the whole time that the same thing that I had heard on previous phone calls was gonna happen to him, and then it didn't. He got out, I got to hear him get out, and that was just kind of like my silver lining. His birthday was in April, and I actually wrote on his card to my silver lining, and he was like, oh, we gotta get tattoos. And then a month to that day, we got the email saying, hey, there's an opportunity for tattoos. So it just kind of felt like it was the perfect thing to get. We had already talked about it. He's my silver lining.
I called my mom right away, and it was funny because my mom's usually the more emotional one, so I called her, and she right away just said, okay, relieved to hear you're all right, call your father. Him and I have never talked about my sexuality, never talked about my queerness. And I called him, and he picked up the phone and just started crying, which I've never seen my father cry. But he just started crying, and he said, I realized today that I may never have gotten the opportunity to tell you how proud I am of you and tell you how much I know you've overcome. It's something I'll never experience, but I know you've overcome, and no matter what, I'm proud of you, and I love you.
Pulse itself is something that hits home for me. One, because Pulse was somewhere where we went traditionally. Myself, all of my friends. I do have friends that are survivors. Some that were held hostage in the bathroom. It was a place I was supposed to be. It was somewhere where a lot of people I know were supposed to be that night. And Pulse meant a lot because it was just a place of love. It was a place of laughter. It was a place where we know we can go out on a Saturday night and not be judged.
So there's a lot that goes into the decision, and a lot of it has to do with timing. We don't want to go when it's still fresh. There's a lot of resources and opportunities available to people immediately after a tragedy, and that's terrific. But then those resources tend to kind of disappear a year, 2 years later. And we're now in that part of time, we're in that 2 years where all the people that were getting help and assistance, it's just not there anymore. You know, unfortunately, there's so many more tragedies like we were talking about, and people kind of focus their attention there. We don't want to leave people and say, it's gone now. You know, we want to be there when they still need the help and others aren't available to them. So I think Orlando is exactly right at that moment, at that cusp, where it's kind of started to die down. People aren't giving as much support as they used to, and we want to bring that back to the attention. And also doing a project like this gets a lot of media. It gets a lot of people to kind of wake up and realize, oh wow, that wasn't so long ago. How did I forget about that?
I didn't get a tattoo for you know, a lot of people went and got tattoos when it happened and everything. I didn't want to just rush and just get something just cause, you know what I mean? It had to be the right time because I was there. So this ain't a trend to me. This ain't a new shirt to buy because, you know what I mean? So it had to be the right situation.
Me and my wife had talked about getting another tattoo done because she actually has one done too. She had got one when I had gotten this one done. And she was like, you know what, go ahead and get the one that you wanted to have done. And I was like, okay. I sent him a couple ideas and he drew up something and I was like, okay, I like that.
It's a form of expression, it's art, it's an outlet. And I think that's amazing that Healing Inc. has given us that opportunity to let us express ourselves in that way.
Everyone has the reasons why they adorn themselves with artwork for their own personal reasons, whether it be, you know, vanity or whether it be something that's very tragic. But I mean, you can have a favorite car that paint my car, you know, it's an object, but you only got one body, you know, so it's such a huge dedication, I think, to show somebody that either the love that you have for them, whether it be someone's name or a picture or photograph, I'm gonna adorn myself that this ain't gonna wash off. I'm gonna wear this like a badge, you know, this is gonna be something I carry on with me for the rest of the time I'm on this planet.
I feel like tattoos are a very healing thing, so to get a chance to give somebody a tattoo where they look at it and remember good things instead of remember tragedy, I think it helps. He was asked, what do you usually do during the anniversary of Pulse? He says, I don't really like to do anything, I don't like to be around anyone. So I think for him to get a tattoo today is a big difference. Now he's in front of all these people. He says he doesn't like to celebrate. It's nothing to celebrate, but I think to commend everything with a tattoo is the best way to move forward.
I don't know. I mean, people get tattoos for all kinds of reasons, and whether it's to memorialize an event or to try and inject some type of positivity in their life. I feel like tattoos in all forms can be empowering.
And much like the experience of Pulse, much like the kind of emotional turmoil of Pulse, that's going to be with us forever. But Healing Inc. and Artists for Israel has turned that into something beautiful and something that I can look at and say, yes, there's a lot of pain there, yes, there's a lot of hurt, but my God, there's so much to look forward to, and there's so much in the future that we can turn this into. That's not just, you know, a tragedy that happened 2 years or 5 years or 10 years ago. It gives us something to look forward to and really memorialize what happened.
Sadness is that everyone seems to always have like a 7-day grieving period where it's like, this is the cool thing and we've kind of moved on. But I think people who've really been touched, you know, more at home with that kind of tragic event, you know, the first responders, the people who were there, the family members, like that stuff lingers every day on a day-to-day basis, you know.
It was a place that I knew really well, especially with my friends. And I remember one of my friends, the last time I was there was her bachelorette party. And, you know, after the incident happened, we were talking. She was like, it's so hard to talk to people who are not from Orlando about it. And she mentioned this to a friend of ours from Aurora, Colorado. And Aurora, in 2012, as you all know, you know, there was the Dark Knight Rises shooting in the movie theater. And he was like, you know, no city has a monopoly on pain. No tragedy has a monopoly on pain. And the only way you can really overcome pain is by talking to other people who have experienced that pain and who want to help you heal and heal with you. And I think this event is symbolic of that spirit.
It's hard to know that so many people experienced it, but at the same time it brings peace and comfort because somebody understands how I feel. Because I have friends and family, I have an amazing support system, but they don't entirely understand maybe why certain things trigger me or upset me or make me sad, or why I still struggle with it, because for whatever reason there's a stigma around grief that it's like you're supposed to just move on. Okay, it happened this many, it happened 2 years ago, so just get over it. But it's something that you carry with you for the rest of your life.
There's 49 people that like got their life taken, and we gotta do everything in our power to make like our dreams and goals come true, because it's, their aspirations was just left in the club. There was all kind of people there, and it's just like their aspirations just got taken from them. So the tattoo and this event is just helping me personally stay motivated every day. Every day I wake up. Like I said, you kind of have no choice but to be resilient, You already go through BS every day, and then if you survive something like this, it's like, yeah, you got your ups and downs, but you ain't got nothing to complain about.
So I think it's important that we do remember that from the tragedy we brought a lot of good together. Hope was one of the biggest things, and love, and we can continue that forward in our community, not just over a period of 1 or 2 years, but make this a long-term event.
I want people to know that Orlando is a place of love, and it's always been a place of love, but now more than ever, because unfortunately it did take a tragedy to bring us closer, but as a community we're building each other up and we're becoming a better place. I think just love is the movement, so I just want everyone to know that we are love.
Artists for Israel's Healing Inc. project doesn't plan on stopping. In fact, we started with 1 trip a year, we moved to 2, next year it's going to be 3. There's just too many places that need help, and after we've seen what an incredibly powerful experience this can be for the artists, for the recipients, even for the people in the community that watch it come together, then we're going to try to go as many places as we possibly can.